Hey guys, so here we are. It's episode 100. It is kind of amazing that we're here. Feels like it's been a long time that we've been doing these, but it also feels like it was just the blink of an eye. I mean, 100 episodes in the land of television, that's 7, 8 seasons, maybe more. I mean, that's pretty crazy. And I've been racking my brain for the last week knowing this 100th episode was coming up and trying to figure out something special, something exciting, something groundbreaking to do for you guys to kind of mark this milestone, because it's a big deal. It really is. And I wish I could say I had something terribly exciting and awesome to show you, but I don't. In fact, what I've got is just a lot of questions. And to get through that, today's episode is going to be very simple. It's going to be me and you, how this started. It's not going to be a lot of cameras panning around, looking at scenery. It's not going to be anything groundbreaking. It's not even going to be showing a bunch of photographs that I've been out making, because I haven't shot anything today. The last couple days, my youngest has been home sick with the flu bug, and I've been home with him, taking care of him, hoping he can feel better, and feeling pretty helpless, because it's, as a parent, always kind of the most sickening feeling, knowing that your babies are, miserable and sick and not feeling well, and that there's nothing at all you can really do to help them other than just be there. And we made it through it. He's feeling good. Everything's on the mend, and everything's good in that respect. But it left me a lot of time to really sit and think about what I wanted to do for this special 100th episode, which kind of opened a bit of a doorway to think about a little more in detail about what are we actually doing? What am I doing with this video series? And I had a lot of time to reflect on it. And, in thinking back, this whole thing started in earnest when my mom got sick and diagnosed with cancer. And it was a way for me, because I was outside already, because I went to my happy place, which is out in the woods. Through the fall, I was taking photos all the time and just taking walks to try and clear my head and try and cope and grapple with everything that was going on. And this whole YouTube channel really started out as an experiment, which my initial motivation was, since I'm out here anyways, I might as well film it. It's a document, a record, and something I can look back on. And if you go through the earlier half of these 100 episodes, you'll see there's a lot of family moments put in there, a lot of little different personal things. It wasn't all just me standing here talking to you guys, telling you about photography tips, things like that. And it changed somewhere along the way, because I decided I wanted to start making sure I was paying it forward to other photographers. Sorry, it's very slippery out here, but to other photographers that are maybe just getting started and maybe, looking for a resource that they can follow that can help answer some of those questions they may have. Now, obviously I've talked many times about how this isn't about gaining likes, gaining followers, gaining, an audience. It's not about the likes, the shares, the comments, but those things do help. And, it's an indicator, a bit of a validation, that lets you know that what you're doing and what you're working on is something that people are finding useful. Now, what I've seen since I've started is some numbers that haven't changed, I gained a handful of followers early on, around 15, 18 or so that followed me. How many of those still watch, I don't know, but I do know I have a core group of, 3, 4, 5 people that do watch every one of these. And for that, I am so tremendously thankful. And I appreciate that support more than words can ever say. But I also know that it's been close to 6 months and 100 episodes in, and that number hasn't moved, which, maybe it's just being down in the winter blues or whatever you want to call it, but it kind of makes me wonder why I'm doing this. Why do we create anything? Now, I've definitely had some cool things happen since I started doing these videos, since I started putting this out there. But I also definitely don't think that this video series in any way, shape, or form has probably opened those doors, has probably benefited in that respect at all on a personal level. I was extremely blessed and honored to not only get to appear once, but twice on the Shutter Time show with Sid and Mac, and more honored and blessed to be able to call them both great friends. A real, genuine connection and friendship has built there. Last night, I spoke with Mac just briefly as him and his wife were heading out to explore I believe he called it the Abraham Lake area, the famous Bubble Lake up in Canada there, and they were getting out since they got there early, going to do some astrophotography, and it was nothing about a show, it was nothing about the videos, it was nothing about anything other than just having a chat with a friend, which was incredible. That's the only thing I can say, is that it was just absolutely a moment where I realized it's not just because they've got a show, and it's a genuine friendship that started, and that's what I'm hoping to have happen more with this channel. But I also know that there are many days for every 1 or 2 episodes or topics I put out there where I feel really good about it, like it's good information for people, and I get a good reaction from it, that people say they learned something. I also have 5 videos that'll go up where I feel like it's not that I'm phoning it in, but it's not really anything too terribly interesting either. So I've been doing a lot of thinking, and it's gotten me, I'm going to be honest, a little bit confused as to what my next step should be. I really enjoyed this video game, and which is kind of funny. This is me having to kind of eat my shoe and pull my foot out of my mouth, because if you would have asked me even a year ago, the debate over, does a camera need to have good video or any of that stuff, I always swore it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. I don't shoot video. I'm not interested in video. Well, lo and behold, here I am, and I'm really enjoying it. But what's happened is that as I've gotten more into it, I've realized that it's another great way to be able to express myself creatively and tell those stories that I maybe couldn't have otherwise told. But for me, photography is always, the still photograph is always still where my heart is, and that's what I enjoy the most. And so I know one thing for sure, that's what I'm going to keep doing. As far as other kind of cool things that have happened while I've been doing these videos, I was able to get a couple images featured and critiqued on the #Daily podcast with Jordan Powers, and in a crazy twist of events, had one of my favorite photographers that I've been following for a little while here, Brian Manier, just a super cool dude, and had some great conversations over Twitter and Instagram with him. And he was actually guest hosting, and got to have him talk about my work too. And if you haven't listened yet, make sure and go do that. But long story short there is they had nothing bad to say, and I was really floored by that. I mean, I couldn't believe that my work was up to a level where it wouldn't get picked apart, at least some. I knew they weren't going to be mean about it and tear it apart, but I thought there'd be at least some more criticism and some more things that get pointed out as far as me needing to work on things to kind of bring it to the next level. But there wasn't, and it was amazing. But I also know that had nothing to do at all with this video series, because Brian knew I did this video series, but Jordan didn't. And when he selected me to do this, it had nothing to do with my videos. It was all based solely on my photography work, which the more I thought about it the last couple of days, the more it made me realize, like, that's what's been opening these doors, is my photographic vision and being able to just capture the world around me in a special way. Now, I'm going to wrap this up because I've been rambling a little bit, and as you can see, I'm kind of lost in the reeds a little bit. I'm not sure what my next step with this whole video series is going to be. I know I've also recently, as I mentioned, I think last week before, started a new podcast with some very good friends of mine. It's called Digital Soup, and we're going to talk about all things technology, but not necessarily just from the real in-depth geeky point of view where we're talking about CPUs and RAMs. I mean, sure, we're going to touch on that stuff, but we're not going to get into dissecting, what Cisco server is the best for, specific applications. It's more of a conversation between three friends that enjoy technology, and I get to play the role, if you want to call it that, of the resident photographer, because that's what I do. And so there's a lot of technology and a lot of cool things that happen because of photography, and I'm really excited about that. I can't wait to dive into more, and it's been a blast so far. But I'm not going to stop doing these YouTube videos. But what I am going to do, because we've hit episode 100, I am going to treat this like a season of television. And I'm going to say that right now I'm going to take a little bit of a break from the YouTube channel, from the photography that I've been doing, or the video work I've been doing here, while I try and figure out what that next step is going to be, because quite frankly, I'm not sure. I know I can keep doing these videos like this. I shoot lately over the weekends and stockpile things because it's winter here in Minnesota. By the time I get off work, it's dark. Before work, it's dark. Lunch breaks are quick. I don't have access to places because it's buried in snow. And so I'm very, very limited as to what I can do. And so rather than keep churning out, so my apologies, memory card filled up, but what I was saying was, rather than just keep churning out these episodes 5 a week about all these random topics that come into my mind, what I'm going to do is treat this like a season break, the off season, if you want to call it that. And I'm going to treat this first 100 as season 1 in my YouTube channel. Now, that's a lot of information for you guys to go back and watch and find, and so what I'm asking you guys, if you've been supporting the channel, take some time, go back through the 100 episodes I've got up, and I'd like to hear from you. What were some of your favorites? What are some of the things that you'd like to see more of, and what are some of the things that you really didn't care for so much in this series? Now, along with that, making sure focus is good, along with that, I'm going to be doing some thinking, and I'm not sure how long it's going to be. Might only be a week, might be just a couple weeks here. But what I'm leaning towards when I come back is I want to do something with these videos to be able to share more of a story, to be able to tell more of a story than just, hey, here I am standing in front of a camera sandwiched between a couple landscape clips. I want to be able to do something a little more, for lack of a better term, cinematic for you guys, which means I've got to take some time and learn my tools a little better. I've got to be able to figure out how to use the things I'm using for this video to give a little better look in that respect. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm not going to be sitting doing nothing. Of course, I'll have the new episodes of the podcast coming up regularly and all of that too, which we'll talk a little photography there. But I think the best thing at this point, we hit this 100 milestone, and it's amazing. And I thank you guys so much for tuning in and sticking with me through all of these episodes. It's been a long run, and we're going to take some time and regroup. And I'm thinking when I come back, the one thought I've had, and I've talked about it before, is that I really feel like putting out a new episode every day, Monday through Friday, is just a little too much for people to be able to keep up with. But it's also a struggle for me, because in order for people to see it, I've got to be able to promote it, which means I've got to be sharing it on Facebook. I've got to be tweeting about it. I've got to be putting it out there all over the place. And I'm just not comfortable spamming people like that every single day with a new video. And so I think what I'm going to do is probably look to narrow things down to just once a week, maybe twice a week at most, and really leave this in a situation where I can spend a week telling people about this video without spamming them 30 times a day to say, hey, go check this out, look at me, because that's not what it's about. I'm not looking at this as a way to build followers, as a way to build numbers. What I'm looking at is a way to get this work that I'm creating out there for people to enjoy, possibly help some people, and who knows, I've had this itch lately to want to try doing something a little more cinematic, a little more storytelling, and almost treating it as you would maybe a real short film. Putting something together with a little more thought and planning behind it that's going to be a little more impactful, a little more entertaining than just watching me stand in front of a camera. So to all of you that have been following and listening and cheering me on through the course of this, I thank you so much. We made it to 100. I mean, it's amazing. And so, you know, cheers for that. And I appreciate all of you that have stuck with me. And I sure hope that once we get the ball rolling again, I'll find you guys still there in my corner. But just know I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break. Consider it, like I said, season 1 in the books. And we're going to come back with season 2 in a little different format because I need to change some things up just to make this a little better for not just you, but for me, and a little more creatively satisfying driving forward. Because in the end, that's the question that I leave you with, is to think long and hard about this for you guys on why do we create anything? Why do we do what we do as artists, as photographers or musicians? And in the end, that answer really, I think, has to come down to satisfying ourselves, satisfying that own creative itch that we've got. And that's what I'm trying to figure out how to do. But maybe there's another answer on why we create. But I know it certainly isn't to get likes on Instagram or to get followers or subscribers on YouTube. Those things are nice. They're a nice reaffirming that people are actually enjoying what it is you're putting out. But at the end of the day, if you're not happy with something that you're making yourself, you need to change that and do something about it. So that's what I'm going to do, is kind of take stock, and rather than keep struggling through and putting out videos that maybe aren't as great, I'm going to take some time off, and we're going to regroup, and we're going to come back with a season 2 of some sort, if you want to call it that. And look forward to doing something a little more, I don't want to say in-depth, but a little more focused and a little less content to deliver it in a schedule and a timeline where there's less information coming out as far as daily, but the information I put out once a week will hopefully be a little better quality. And so that's the plan. So you guys take care, and I am going to get going and do some thinking, and I will definitely keep you guys posted on what's going on. Please just follow me over on Twitter or Instagram, any of those places, and you'll be able to see my work going up. The Facebook page as well is a great way to get a hold of me. So find all of those links right down below. And in the meantime, use this time off to get caught up, go through the episodes, tell me which ones you like best, tell me why, and any feedback you can give me there is awesome. Certainly look at that. And you guys just take care, and I will talk to you soon. Just not sure when, but it'll be soon. All right, guys, have a good one.